Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the John Woodard Show. Tonight we have the pleasure of interviewing three party activists from different parts of the state. Jim Womack from Lee County, Lee Barrows from Onslow County, and Carol Warnicki from Dare County. The geographic spread that we have here is really terrific, and it gives us an opportunity to take the temperature of what's going on in the party at various areas of the state. Thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Good to be here, John.
Good with you, John.
Be here.
Carol, why don't we talk with you first? What is the sentiment in your area now with regard to the 2021 campaign?
2021?
Yeah.
Dare County is a hardcore, since 2010, Dare County's been a hardcore red county. It's staying that way. We are cautiously optimistic, but we realize that you can never let your guard down. But we are really optimistic about the way forward and the progress that North Carolina is going to make.
How do you feel about 22? Same thing?
22 is going to be a battle. We need to keep that Senate seat. And we know that there's going to be a fiercely fought primary, but we will unite behind we hope that the most conservative candidate comes out on top. We will unite behind that Republican candidate. We need to keep that seat in DC.
Lee, with down there with all the military that you've got down there, is there any one particular candidate that you know of so far that stands out best in your view?
So far, I think it would be McCrory, because he was so strong in Onslow County when he ran for governor. And I think he's probably the most well-known name right now. But, there's a lot yet to come. But we're a very strong Republican county. We started in 2016, and by 2020, we were completely red as far as all our elected positions. We've got 8 district court judges that are all Republicans now. Every elected official in Onslow County is Republican. So we're a very strong Republican county, and I think we're going to keep it that way. The 2020 election just upset a lot of people, and I think you're going to see those people fight even harder now.
We're seeing with this critical race theory that we're going to be doing a meeting on the 11th. These things are really galvanizing Republican voters, don't you think?
Oh, I do agree with that. We're still doing voter registrations, and every month we get a tally of new registrations in Onslow, and they average anywhere from, 300 to 550 new registrations being Republican.
Holy moly, that's of course, the ins and outs of the military transfers help those totals a lot, doesn't it?
Definitely, especially our veteran population. We have a huge veteran population here in Onslow County, and they're just pro-Republican. They're very patriotic, and I think you're going to see a lot of good things come out of it over this 2021 and 2022 election period. I mean, we ended up with about 67% Republican the last election. That's how our totals were so high. So we did awesome.
Jim, the last time we did one of these panel discussions, we talked a lot about what was happening with the with the Senate race and with the governor's race. Do you see any single candidate that you think can lead the pack in the governor's race?
for 2024, it's clear that Mark Robinson will cruise to the nomination unless something dramatic happens between now and then. He's the de facto leader of the Republican Party. He's the face of the party. As he likes to say, he is North Carolina, and he has a really good chance at being our next governor in 2020, starting in January 2025. There were some who were sorry to see that he elected not to run for U.S. Senate. He gave a serious look at running into that race. There were a lot of folks that really wanted him to finish up his term as lieutenant governor and succeed Roy Cooper. So, for whether you're happy or not that he's going to stay put, he is he's fully engaged on getting ready for 2024, and I think he'll cruise through the primary. I'm not sure I know anybody that would want to run against him.
Nope, I agree.
In terms of the Senate race, that one's very interesting at this point. I'll give you my where I see the handicapping right now. And I'm not sure we've seen all of the candidates declare their eligibility yet. I think there's still a chance. There's an outside chance that Laura Trump may still get in the race.
Mark Martin.
And I've heard rumors that Mark Martin, former Chief Justice, might get in the race. If I were to handicap it now, I would certainly not handicap it based on the polling that you saw. Lee made a good point about McCrory having best name recognition around the state. He certainly does have good name recognition. But that cuts both ways, because he is as well disliked as he is well liked in the grassroots circles around the state. Anybody that was a party officer or chairman in a county when McCrory was governor can recognize that there more than one time he appointed Democrats to positions over Republicans that had been nominated. He sued the General Assembly for control over boards and commissions. He was silent on I-77 tolls at a time when it was really painful for the folks in the Piedmont, and he lost tens of thousands of votes from that. He ticked off the commercial fishermen off the coast for letting the sport fishermen control that industry. I mean, you go down the list. He made a lot of mistakes as governor, and overcoming that name recognition among the grassroots conservatives who are still around is going to be tough for him. I would also say that Mark Walker got out early, and that helped him in his race. He's got the backing of the Conservative Political Action Committee and American Conservative Union, Matt Schlapp and his team. He's got Mike Huckabee, who's strong in the Christian conservative channels backing him, and he's got Clarence Henderson on his team, which helps him with the minority vote in North Carolina. So I think, he got out early and he did all the right stuff in terms of campaigning early. Ted Budd got in the race a little late, but Ted Budd's got the Club for Growth behind him. And I think he's going to end up possibly with the Trump endorsement because he spent some time at Mar-a-Lago before he made his decision to get in the race. So if I were handicapping the thing right now, I'd say that you're going to see a dramatic shift in the polling as name recognition gets stronger and as the voting records of these three gentlemen become clearer. I could easily see Walker overtaking McCrory pretty soon, and then I could see Budd catching up, because he's the least well known of the three. But the folks in the 13th district know him well and know that he's a rock solid conservative. So it's going to be real interesting to see how it develops.
McCrory has done more to injure himself, self-inflicted, than any other major candidate in my memory. So name recognition doesn't carry very much when the recognition is attached to some self-inflicted wounds of that level.
Yeah, and you're right. There are some errors that you can overcome over time, and McCrory may well do that, but he's going to have to come out strong on some policy issues that would win back the lost base that he's got. And I don't know if he's got that in him. He's a bit of he's a little bit self confident about, because he was elected governor and he was still so popular. He gets a lot of good fan mail. From running his radio show down in Charlotte, and I'm sure he's very confident in his ability to recover from the errors that were made when he was governor. But I'll tell you the other thing. people don't realize this about North Carolina. This state is very legislature centric. Our state has a very powerful General Assembly by our constitutional constructs. And the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to get on the wrong side of the General Assembly if you're trying to run for statewide office. That didn't help you very well, that's a lesson learned. You might still be popular, immensely popular, but I think even strong grassroots conservatives like Mark Robinson recognize that you need to work with the General Assembly, not in opposition to them.
Absolutely. Well, what about the current situation with the census and the new congressional district that we might get out of this? What are your opinions on that? Let's start with Carol.
It's not a might. We are getting that 14th congressional.
Oh yeah, we are. But what do you have? Is some?
Well, the problem is
where the district will be carved out of.
No, I was just reading an article that there's no way to tell right now where that's going to fall. It is, I mean, the rural areas are hollowing out, as they said, and places like Mech and the Triangle, the urban areas are growing, but it's going to come down to where those specific numbers come. And every district is probably going to shift a little bit, but nobody knows where that 14th district is going to come. Our population has grown by 10% in the last decade, 900,000 people. Let's just hope that those people that are coming here are not bringing their Democrat politics with them. But nobody knows where it's going to fall. Wherever it falls, we haven't won the day yet. We still have to win that. We have to win that congressional race.
Well, absolutely. Lee, the General Assembly, Tim Moore in particular, really, I think he did a disservice to the citizens of the state when he jettisoned the bill that was to prevent biological males from competing in female athletics. Are you aware of that?
I heard a little bit on it. I started to research it the other day, but I didn't delve into it too far.
Does anybody know why? Because I can't get an answer.
Yeah,
well, the chief sponsor of the bill said that, well, he thought it was because Apple's coming to town and he didn't want to upset Apple. And Apple had a phone conversation with him before he took this action. And there's a lot of people that are not very happy with him right now. And
coward.
Yeah, well, that's the word that I've heard. I didn't want to say it.
Let me offer you right now. If you poll or survey the average conservative around the state, I won't say the average citizen, but the average conservative around the state, you're going to get a top 10 list. I would say 3 or 4 of the top 10 in the citizens' minds are 1, critical race theory, 2, transgender men and women's sports, 3, vaccine passports and mandates. I mean, you could pretty much set your watch by those being the topical issues right now. And I think voter integrity ranks right up there as well. You're trying to close loopholes in the voter laws, which, and if you compare us, if you use some other states, even Colorado, which is not an ultra conservative state. If you look at where we are with our legislation in this session compared to what a lot of other states are doing, we're way behind. I mean, we are. In fact, Georgia is outpacing us in the legislation that they're producing. So it goes to show that there's a bit of cowardice on the part of the General Assembly right now. They can't even move no-brainer bills because of influence. And what I'm being told from multiple sources is that there's the official reason why, and then there's the unofficial reason why.
Always.
And the official reason that we're being given on the transgender bill was that there were less than 10 reported incidents in the last few years of a problem in that area. So Moore's comment was, when he officially declared the bill was dead, he said that this was a solution in search of a problem. Yeah. Forget the fact that other states have major problems and it's coming here as well. let's not, instead of getting out in front of it, let's be reactive and wait for 2 more years to try to address the transgender problem in women's sports. I mean, even Caitlyn Jenner agrees that that's inappropriate. Yep. And of all people, to be an advocate, that's one you probably ought to follow the lead on. So,
well, more importantly than that, by the time the 2 years rolls around, that's women either get defeated or don't pursue athletic achievement because of the competition from a biological male. There's going to be a lot of people that are really angry with the Republican Party, and Tim Moore in particular, by the time 2 years rolls around.
You're exactly right, John. And I will tell you that this was that was about as close to a no-brainer bill that you could move as possible. The unofficial reason that we're hearing that he killed the bill was because we've got Apple, Google, and Amazon, all 3 looking at major investments in North Carolina, and they've got a social agenda in all 3 of those companies, and they don't talk to the underlings in the General Assembly. They talk to the senior leadership. And I believe this to be true. I don't know it for fact, but I believe that Tim Moore has been approached by the lobbyists of 1 or more of these companies, probably Amazon or Apple, that have said, this is our social agenda, and we don't want any counter legislation on that. And I can tell you, he's getting hit with the lobbies from the pharmaceutical companies and others on the vaccines. That's why that vaccine passport bill is not going anywhere, because he's being lobbied hard from that end. And he wants that caucus money pouring in so that he can reelect his good Republican supporters. So I think a lot of this is being driven by money, not by
follow the money always.
Policy. Right.
Well, the money. They say money is the mother's milk of politics,
and the root of all evil.
Right? That's there's no more truer statement in the world.
Right. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Lee, how are you getting? What are you hearing down in your district about the critical race theory? Anything about that that is substantive?
Not really much is being said right now. I think right now Onslow in my area is just kind of in a lull right now, getting ready to gear back up. So there's not been a lot said.
Well, this there was a rally in Raleigh about 2 or 3 weeks ago with Education First Alliance, and their president is coming to a meeting in New Bern on the 11th, a meeting that I have organized, and so this ought to be something that everybody should get behind, supporting our children and the opposing the indoctrination of our kids. We got 30 so far. I'm surprised we didn't fill the House. I'm really surprised at that.
I haven't heard anything about
it. How about you, Carol? Do you anything in your area?
Yeah. Oh, well, critical race theory happens to be one of my triggers. Okay. So
good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's okay. But on our board of ed, we have six of 7 of the members are Republicans. And I have called all 6 and said, what are you doing about critical race theory? Has it been brought up? They have assured me that it is not going to be a concern in Dare County. And I told them, I said, if it is a concern, we will be out protesting your meetings every month. I said, there's no way that critical race theory can be introduced into our county. But it doesn't matter because it's in Wake already. It's being taught in North Carolina. I mean, it's encroaching. We already have indoctrination, but it is encroaching on the curriculum. The 1619 project, it's got to be stopped. This one is really troubling me. Really troubling me.
It's troubling me too. I just did an interview with Catherine Truitt, and
public education.
It'll be on the internet, pretty quickly now. It's in editing, but you know, this is my third interview with her, so you know, she was comfortable with me, and I asked her a lot of generic questions about, you know, what she's been doing with her travels and everything like that since she took office, before I got into the issues of critical race theory. You know, she answered every question, but she didn't. She wasn't as confident in the answers that she was giving me as I would have expected of a person in her position.
And that's what I heard about her, and that's concerning also.
What about you, Jim? Is there anything like that prevalent in your area?
Well, a couple of things. One, there's no topic that I've worked harder on in the last week than that particular topic. And you know, I've been watching with great interest what these other states are producing almost daily. There's another state that passes a prohibition or a ban of one sort or another, while North Carolina is languishing, while we're not taking action. And you know, people don't realize this, but crossover for legislation is a week away. Right. If we don't get a bill or language introduced within the next week, it has no chance of getting, or very little chance of getting passed through the legislature this session. And this is the long session. So next year, the odds of being able to introduce or get anything done in critical race theory is almost nil. The disappointment that I have in the last week, and I've been back up to Raleigh on Tuesday at another session like we had back in April, talking to legislators, and I'm getting a lot of pushback on the legislators saying that that they recognize that critical race theory is not a good construct for her education in civics and American history, but that they're at a loss for what to do. You know, and I say to myself, you know, this is not a complicated problem. There's a lot of angles to it, but it's really simple. Find the root problems with critical race theory, the root issues, and it has to do with using race as a construct or a prism for teaching history and civics or other aspects of socioeconomic theory, and attack that and say, and prohibit the use of race, ethnicity, gender, or gender orientation, age, socioeconomic status. Prohibit the use of that as a tool for teaching. There's no problem. We've never had a problem in history of being able to address racial insufficiencies in the past or discriminatory behavior. But now they want to create, through critical race theory, a prism through which, or a set of lenses through which you have to view history, which is revisionist in its nature. And if you attack the root problem of critical race theory in language and legislation, you can actually get it passed. I mean, it's not unprecedented for the General Assembly to do it, even though they don't like to be in education policy. Since DPI didn't do it, they need to step up. You know, I like to refer to this as a problem that can be fixed much more elegantly and cleanly at the top than if you let it promulgate down through DPI into the 115 school systems around the state. Because once it gets out and once it's been inculcated into the curriculum, now you're playing whack-a-mole. Now you're having to go 115 school systems to try to eradicate a problem rather than solving it very quickly and elegantly one time at the
it
state
gets
level.
So watered down by the time it goes through all those layers that by the time you get to the bottom, it has very little resemblance to what you started with.
Right. The other problem you have with critical race theory is some states have actually banned it by name. But this, you know, if you go to the American Bar Association website and look up critical race theory, the lawyers will tell you that it's not even a noun. It's a verb. The legal minds of the country are treating it like a verb. You can't even get your head around it because it continues to morph and change in its title and its approach and its impact. It's a sinister, un-American way of addressing history and civics. And you allow this stuff to propagate all over the country, you'll never eradicate it. You'll never get it out, and it'll continue to morph, and it'll completely change the way we view our country. We will no longer be an exceptional nation.
By the time 4 years rolls around, if we don't put a stop to it right now, by the time 4 years rolls around, it's going the nature of our country could be in jeopardy. There's every race is coming at us from every direction every day. Everything is about race. Nothing's about anything except race. And you can see that with the intensity of the information that's driving in toward the public, that this is an integral part of the Barack Obama fundamentally transforming the government of the United States of America.
But that is the prism, the lens that critical race theory is being presented on, is race is everything. Everything must be looked at with a prism toward race. And that is where we're going to lose our country. And you're right, Jim, we are fast becoming not an exceptional country because of.
But one final point I would make about this thing, there is one fundamental truth, even though everybody has an opinion about critical race theory, about what it is, what it's going to be, how it's morphing into other things in the country. There is one essential truth or critical truth to it, and that is that what used to be accepted as a equality under the law, as a fundamental principle of America society. Equality under the law is embedded in our Constitution. It's a struggle we've had, for minorities, women over the years, but over time we've moved in the right direction, and the country's become the banner bearer for equality around the world. But equality is now, one thing you can say about critical race theory is it changes that fundamental principle about our country. Instead of our country being about equality under the law, it's about equity and outcomes. So critical race theory says equality under the law is subordinate or inferior to equity in the future. That you have to unbalance the playing field, or you have to change. You have to become unequal, so that people that were less privileged now have the same opportunity for equity and outcomes, which justifies everything from redistribution of wealth to people that don't need to work and become a ward of the nanny state, and they get treated the same as people that want to work and that show the old system of meritocracy in our country. So that's the fundamental truth about critical race theory is that equality is no longer as important as equity, and that is un-American, flat un-American.
It's a basic socialist premise.
It is. It's a Marxist.
It's institutionalized racism on top of that for Pete's sake.
No more equal opportunity, just equal outcomes.
Right.
So
creating racism.
Yes.
It is. It's racist in its nature. It's racist in its very nature. That's right.
I did a series of articles recently about the North Carolina Association of Educators, because and I know you know this, Jim, that the president of NCAE is a Black Lives Matter supporter, and the vice president is a member of Liberation Road, which is a Maoist Chinese front group.
Yeah. The vice president is a Marxist. He's a declared Marxist. Yeah.
A declared
Marxist. Encouraging, isn't it?
Yes.
Not Marxist, Maoist.
The president who's a declared Marxist.
That's right. And the vice president is a Maoist. From Chairman Mao was one of the largest, if not the largest, mass murderers in all of history, for God's sake. Jim, one last question. You were running for chairman of the party before. Are you planning to run again?
No, my wife's on the ticket this year. I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I tell people, I said that the reason I ran in 2017 and 2019 was because I believed that our party was being run by a crook, and I wasn't about to sit by and just and ignore the fact that I thought that after we fired our grassroots, popularly elected grassroots chairman in 2015, so early 2016, I thought it was inappropriate the way we ushered in a former chairman who I'd never trusted and who I didn't think had the party's best interest at heart. That's why I ran. It wasn't out of ambition. It was out of trying to keep the party's head above water. Amen. And once he got indicted, which was not a real surprise to me, once he got indicted in 2019, I thought, well, here the opportunity's there. I was already running, and then we got ourselves a chairman that was affiliated with the Trump campaign, and the party did a lot better with him than they would have with the predecessor. So I didn't see a need for a dramatic need to have to run a candidate, myself or otherwise, against Michael, because he did some unprecedented things. Of course, he had a lot of help from the Trump administration that he probably ought to give credit for. He got 150 paid staff from the Trump campaign. That's 3 times the number we've ever gotten in past elections. So he got a lot of help. He got a lot of money flowing through, and he got a lot of help since we were a swing state. But I will not begrudge him. He did something that I couldn't have done better at, and that is electing 8 for 8 on the judicial races, which was a priority of mine.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Earned the right to be reelected with his work there. And I'll tell you the other thing that he did, with the help of a great ED, actually 2 good executive directors in a row, both
Jonathan
Sink, and with Jason DeRay. He had 2 really good EDs, and those guys made the trains run on time. Mm-hmm. And that was a major change for the better in the party. He also did one other priority of mine in getting a studio into the headquarters, getting a TV studio. We're putting one in my headquarters as well, but I got to tell you, we needed that, and I'm glad he got it done. So there were a lot of things that I planned to do that he did. I don't see a need to have to try to unseat him or to run against him. I'm a team player and believe that the party is really well served. My focus right now is on the grassroots of the party. I do that through the Conservative Coalition. We got 30,000 members and growing, and I'm really proud of the work we're doing. We got another big event coming up July the 2nd and 3rd in Guilford County. We're going to be doing a Patriot Bash up there. We're going to have Revolutionary War reenactors. Mark Robinson's going to headline it. Largest fireworks display in North Carolina that Friday night. We got a live rock band that's patriotic. We're going to be rocking and rolling 4th of July weekend, and we're going to continue to focus on grassroots, getting them fired up.
Sounds like something we need to do in the 3rd district, Carol.
I'm with you, Lee. I want to have a burn your mask 4th of July picnic. Okay.
There you go. Hey, I'll tell you, for the 3rd district, look, Coastal Carolina Taxpayer Association is a member of the coalition. And if you guys have got any others, I've talked to Pender County. Pender's trying to start up a grassroots organization, and we're working with them. I would be glad to come out and work with you guys to try to get an event down east. We need to do one out there.
Yes, that would be good.
Sure.
Well, we got CCTA, and they're still really powerful.
They are good. Yeah.
Lee, what do you have any last comments?
I think we need to gear up. I think we need to gear up and start now and not wait. We've got to bring the party back together. We've got to bring this division in the party back together. And we've got to focus on these elections come up, and especially that U.S. Senate election, because that's going to be a very important seat for us. So we really need to start working hard. Keep hitting the streets.
We should have started on that long before now. Once the 2020 election was over, we needed to get started on it right away. We're several months behind.
But that's where we failed. We failed because we were just so
we were wobbly.
We were so robbed, and we were so hurt, and we were so distraught over losing our governorship and our presidency, that instead of picking up and charging, we sat back and just felt defeated and argued and blamed each other. So now's the time we've got to pick up. We've got to start now. Like you said, we're behind. We're behind, and we just need to go.
Carol, what about you, hon?
I agree with Lee. I mean, you're right. We are behind, but everyone after 2020, I could barely put one foot in front of the other. And what I was doing was trying to hold a very shaky county party together. I was getting calls every day. I'm leaving the party. I'm leaving the party. And I fought every day to keep my members in this party. And so now I think it's time that our momentum's back. We're angry. Critical race theory has it, this transgender. We have a big center. We are angry. And that's when we fight the hardest. So it's time to gear up and get going.
It most certainly is. I've been I've been writing a number of articles that have been bringing out the problems that we face going forward and what we have to do to correct them, and it all, once you understand the width and the depth of the problem, then you can get people, hopefully get people to come out and support you. The problem that we find with critical race theory is there's so damn much apathy. It's unbelievable.
Bingo.
The number of people that well, I don't have any kids in school, or all my kids are out of school, or some damn half-baked excuse, and it makes you crazy.
Agreed.
I call them Facebook warriors. They want to sit and spew and whinge and whine on Facebook, but I can't get them to come to a meeting.
Yeah, buddy, that's absolutely right. And even right here in Pasco County, a lot of people come to the meetings, but nobody does anything.
Everybody talks, nobody does.
Right.
Yeah. Talk.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. This could go on forever, but I think we'll just go ahead and call it a night. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for the John Woodard Show tonight. This has been a terrific interview and a good conversation. Hopefully we'll be able to get together again and talk about where we're, maybe back in July, we'll find out a little bit more about where we stand with the new district and all that. And I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
God bless. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.